Hey gearheads, Saw Doctor here, episode 2, modifying mufflers. I'll walk you through everything. Hey, guess what? Bob's in the house. Alright, I hope you got your mufflers taken off. We just need to find out whether you got like a can muffler or a baffled muffler. And an example would be, this is a baffled muffler on a 038 Magnum, and one that's just a can is like the 038 Super. There's nothing in it at all. So we're just adding baffles to it. I already started on these mufflers. What you're going to need is a diagram or a cutoff saw. Remember, these are all tools from the 70s, and this is a little 3-inch that I used back in the 70s for cutting the portholes in the mufflers, just like that. So you just cut out whatever size you want, and then you're going to use some metal strapping. I'll show you. It's just this metal strapping right here. This is 1.25 inches. Inch is about perfect. So anyway, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody first before we get started here, and my condolences to anybody that suffered in Argentina from the storms. You're in our thoughts all the time, so be safe down there. Okay, here's the progression of the muffler so far. Here's a 031. If you notice that I already cut the baffle off the outside of that, and then I cut all of this interior stuff out so it's just free flowing. And here's the progression of the 041 muffler with the new baffle in it. And if you notice, there's a little hole right up in here I left intentionally so you can put the spark screens back in them and be legal in the summertime. I don't modify a muffler that I can't do that for unless I'm making a race muffler, and that's never going to happen again. So anyway, I already showed you this is the 038 Super, open can, 31, 038. Now this 038 Magnum right here that has the baffles in it, I started cutting this baffle out right here. I cut the side out. You can see I already added this baffle in. I increased the size of the baffle over here, and then underneath on this side, I cut that baffle out too. So I'll show you what that looks like now. Here's the side baffle. You see where I got that all cut out in there? And on this side right here. And then if you notice, I opened this baffle up too. So this muffler is basically done. It's ready to go. I just need to clean it up and repaint it. The 031, you can see I gutted it out completely. Put a baffle in up here, and it's almost complete. So that's what it looked like before. I cut that baffle out of there. And what's these down here? Who put that up there? Bob? Bob? Did you? This is a whole different project, Bob. We don't do that here now, okay? That's later on. All right. We'll just leave that up there for now. Okay, so making these baffles, all you want to do is figure out what size you need. Then you're going to cut a piece of your strapping off, just like this. This is just the strapping. You cut it off to whatever length you want. I like to lap it over a 1/2 inch at least, because you need to have room for your legs, all right? And what I'm talking about legs is, you see right here. This is a 3/8 lift. This is a 1/4 lift. And you might only be able to use this application here because of the distance between other objects like handlebars on your saw. Particularly these 038s with that side baffle on. The handle, your handlebar is right there next to that baffle. So you want a low baffle that it's spitting it out straight forward. So anyway, what we'll do, now that you got that cut, is you're going to stick this in the vise down here. Nice and square, like that. Then you're going to take a ball peen hammer. Bend that over, okay? Just that easy. And the side here. Just like that. Okay. Now, to get your lift, the desired lift, that just depends on the angle you cut from here to here as to how that's going to set one way or the other. If you start right here and go back to this corner right here, you're going to have an extremely thin baffle. But this will right here will probably give you about a 1/4 inch lift, which is the top one. And then again, to get that angle, you can either do it with a hacksaw or this little grinder. You can take and cut at an angle, just like that, to get that. All right? So, let's go ahead and braise a baffle up. We'll just stick this in here like that. Here's our baffle that we want to put on here. That's going to go right there like that. Okay. Now, some of you have never done this before. Some of you, all you have is wire feed welders and all this fancy stuff, but back in the 70s, all I had was a brazing rod and oxyacetylene. So, for those of you that have to use oxyacetylene, here's the settings that I've used since the 70s. Basically, 7 pounds on your acetylene, 7, 8, 9 pounds, somewhere around in there. 26 pounds on your oxygen should give you about the right flame. And I'll show you how to adjust that flame too. So just be patient. You'll need this, and you'll need a brazing tip and a piece of brazing rod. So you want to start out with just a little oxygen and a little acetylene, like that. Now, you see the long white flame in there? You're going to add oxygen until that comes down real slow, like that. See it coming down, turning blue, 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 blue. Okay, if you go that far, can you hear that making noise? You don't want to hear that. That's too hot. So, change it up here just a little bit, like that, right there. And cut back just a little bit on the acetylene. Perfect, nice and quiet. Very thin metal. If you go too hot, everything's going to melt right in front of you. So I'll just do a little braze on here so you can see what it kind of looks like. Get everything nice and warm first. And your muffler's going to be thicker and harder steel than your baffle is, so you want to kind of get it heated up nice first. Okay. I'm going to put a little braze on it. Come on. Come on, darling. Melt. Melt. Oh. Okay. That's started. We'll just kind of take that all the way across here. Remember, watch your heat. Don't let it get too hot. If it gets too hot, you'll ruin your metal. All right. You get the idea. So, that's about all there is on modifying mufflers. You'll just have to decide what location you can put your new baffles on and how much you want to gut the inside of your baffles out and what you got to do. This 038 Super that I'm modifying, I bought it from this guy, and it's got some issues, but I was going to show you one. A wannabe modifier. You see how far they cut this side baffle down? Now, from here down, this is blowing directly on the side of the case. You don't want that. So what I did is I made a baffle that I can cover that up with, and I will solder that just like that on there, and then I'll bend this flap out just a little bit and trim it down so it's shooting the exhaust away from you. Anyway, all right. Episode 3, polishing and porting. Now this is only for piston ported saws. So I'm going to show you what you're going to have for that. Everything, like I said, is from the 70s. So you are going to need a piece of scrap 1/4 inch round stock because you're going to make tools. You're going to need to make 2 tools with slices in them like that. I don't know if you can see it. Like that. Now this was done with a hacksaw. And the reason why I did that, let me get this, is so when we start to polish and sand our ports, this will go right on here. Sorry, my vision isn't very good. Right there, and then you wind that up on there just like that. And you've got a sander for sanding your ports, your transfer ports, intake, whatever. And you're also going to need some steel wool for polishing. Get a heavy grade and a fine grade, and then for the final you can either, I like to use what they call lapping compound. It's for lapping valves into the guides. Nice fine grit, polishes shit up real nice. Okay, what else are you going to need? You will need a die grinder, 1/4 inch, carbide burr, double cut. That's what I cut the baffles out of the 31. That's what I cut all of these baffles out with that. And now you're going to use this for modifying your cylinders. So, something else you might think about trying to find is an old dental mirror. I just got this old one from a dentist and put it on a piece of round stock. But what this allows you to do is, if you look at this 038 cylinder, I've got some areas circled right here. This is a Chinese cylinder, and they have pits in there. Well, unfortunately, if you're looking in like this, you can't hardly ever see those pits. But if you take this mirror, you can stick it in from this side over here through your intake, just like that. And you can actually see from the outside those pits right there and right there. You can look down here. I don't know if the camera guy can get that very good, but with this you can see. The same on the other side. If you don't know what's happening here on a used saw, and you suspect there might be damage, then guess what? You can stick that right in there, and you can look here, here. You can look at everything from the outside. All right. Get your stuff ready. We probably won't start till right after Christmas on the modifying. Now remember, this is a medium modify. This is just to make the saw run a little bit smoother, run a little bit better, maybe give you a few more RPMs. That's all we're going to do. We're not hot rodding whatsoever. All right, these saws got to be used every day, so you got to use your brain. You don't want to go too far. All right. See you episode 3. Have a great time. Have a great holidays. Be safe. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.